It's our story. Jim Tuscher, St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, my personal evolution has been quite dramatic in that area. When I was at the community college, Max and I would be on the phone talking to each other about disability rights issues. Invariably, politics would come up, and I don't mean to speak for Max, but I think our shared view was that politicians were pretty much snakes in the grass, and we tended to avoid them if we could. And then when we got Paraquad was up and running, we began to realize that that's where a lot of power lie with those folks, that a lot of the local stuff here in St. Louis was affected by what's going on in Jefferson City. So we started making contacts with those folks. And I know in those days I was terribly, terribly naive about the political process. For example, the in-home personal assistance program that we have in the state, the enabling language for that, we ran it 3 times, 3 years in a row in Jefferson City. And basically the first 2 years, we'd go down there and get the bill filed and basically come back to St. Louis, and other folks go back to Kansas City and wait for the phone call that says, your bill passed, congratulations. And by the 3rd year, we started waking up that that's not really the way legislation gets passed down there. And we started getting more political about it. The 3rd year past it, we had to accept a sunset clause, which meant in 3 years the program was going to go away unless we, again, politically removed that clause from the bill in 3 years. And when it came down to that, we had, I think, all of 10 people on the program at the end of 3 years, and lost in a committee, again, because we weren't watching the shop. We didn't have people down there on a daily basis watching the votes and watching what people were thinking. And the program was voted down. And I think that was somewhat of a turning point for us, because we had 1 week before they went into executive session on the bill, the budget bill, and we worked day and night for a week and went back down there. And at first, the Wednesday before, we'd lost it 10-9, and then the next week we won 19-zip. And we did that by stuffing we got people into the hearing room a half an hour before the hearing. We were there before any of the other lobbyists. It was a theater-style hearing room, and we had wheelchairs clogging the aisles on the outside, the direct aisle up the center. There was a guy on a respirator that went right up behind the chair. You know, when the chair of the committee comes down and faces the committee and does the executive session. This kid from Kansas City that looked like a linebacker from the neck up was on a respirator, and he went right up behind the chair's seat and sat there, so the chair, when he was going through the budget line items, was hearing this all the way through it. We had another guy up front there that had a voice synthesized machine, and that was asking his attendant, may I please have a drink of water? And it was, you could just see the looks on the representative's eyes. It was just freaking him out. But we won, so that was all that mattered. And then we'd been losing it, had been such a wake-up call that the next week when the bill went to the floor of the House, we had people on the side gallery of the House. And the Missouri House has, there's where the representatives sit, and then there's a step, and then there's columns down the side. And we had a person with a disability sitting in a wheelchair or standing on crutches between each one of those columns when our bill came up, and watching them. And the Speaker of the House said, before I call for a vote on this, I want to acknowledge some very special guests today. and the House stood up and gave us a standing ovation. And I could just feel my face just turn beet red because it was so embarrassing. Because they were voting. I knew we knew we had the vote. We knew we were going to win. But they were doing it for all the wrong reasons. They were doing it for Jerry Lewis type reasons, and it was just terribly embarrassing. But I thought back to a friend of mine, Jim, that needed the service, and I thought, well, if this keeps him out of a nursing home, I can sure handle this. and we won, and we've kept the program ever since. They're in the process of dismantling it as we speak now. But there's a whole new era going on in our politics in the state. But the program went from that original 10 to, I think it's about 8,000 in the state now on in-home consumer-controlled personal assistance services. It's been a great program. The traditional providers want to take over that pot of money, basically, and turn it into a traditional model where a social worker or a nurse hires your attendant for you.
The It's Our Story project is a national effort to make disability history public and accessible. Visit us at www.itsourstory.org or on the It's Our Story project YouTube channel.